Welcome to the Why Not Today podcast, where we share and celebrate courage, determination, and the power of saying why not today. I'm your host, Leslie Kane, and in each episode, we dive into inspiring stories of individuals who have taken bold steps, faced their fears, and embraced the possibilities of today. From entrepreneurs to artists, dreamers to doers, we explore the moments when they said, enough waiting, why not today? Join us as we uncover the heartwarming, the audacious, and the transformative. Whether it's pursuing a lifelong passion, overcoming obstacles, or simply choosing joy, our guests share their journeys and inspire us all. I started this podcast in honor of my father, Patrick Kane, who often said, why not today? And it's funny that why not today came from somebody my dad knew that shared something that he woke up one morning and he actually had to have some surgery, and he was wearing an eye patch, which the logo for Why Not Today is my dad. He had an eye patch on handlebar mustache. So this gentleman posted on social media how he met my dad, or not, he thought of my dad and he talked about all the things my dad did. And then he said, and we both said, why not today? And that's where the name came from. And the reason I'm going this long story around, well, I met this man's wife last night. And she's like, oh, you know, my husband, I know your parents. And then I'm like, this is where my podcast came from. Your husband. She's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So long story, but yeah. So why not today is a movement to inspire people to live their dreams, pursue their dreams, and just live their life. We are not promised tomorrow. We need to enjoy it. And so I'm excited about my guest, Kiley Doll, who I met via a Facebook group. And so if you're not playing on Facebook and you're not connecting and making friends, you're missing out. And we connected. She has a podcast that I was on a couple weeks ago, and I'm excited to have you here, Kiley. And I really don't know your backstory, so it's fun. People try to send me their bios ahead of time. I'm like, I don't want to know. I want to be able to uncover it together. So Kiley, welcome to the Why Not Today podcast. Share a little bit about you and your fun fact, and then we'll get started.
Awesome. First of all, Leslie, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time that we get to spend together. So, and I love helping podcasts out. As you said, I have a podcast, so that's how we're going to be able to learn and grow. So, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Um, a little about me. It's not simple, but I'm a serial entrepreneur. I am a military brat, and grew up in a very chaotic, large family, middle child. A lot of my siblings did not do well with the military life, but I did.
Okay.
And I know with military kids and siblings, it's either you either do really well or you don't. But I loved it, man. New school knew me, like new hair knew me, So I got to
That's fun.
reinvent myself each and every single time. So that was great. My parents were kind of funny. They adopted anybody and everybody off the street that needed a place to go. And I had cousin brothers, literally, my some crazy aunts would just drop their kids off, and I don't think some of them ever picked them back up again. So I I think that's that chaotic energy a little bit where my father was an entrepreneur, self-made after the military, barely got a GED, but my parents were always working on stuff, working on projects, cleaning businesses. I mean, just you go, and they encouraged the entrepreneurship in me. So I got really lucky with that.
I often ask people that are entrepreneurs or looking to start a business, what did your parents do? And
Yeah.
often people whose parents were entrepreneurs, they follow the same footsteps because that was
Yeah.
modeled. So
Yeah.
let's
Well, and like I said, my dad did retire from the military. And
right.
then he just went in to be a self-taught home builder and actually did really well for himself.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what's a fun fact about Kiley we want to know?
Fun fact about me, I got two of them, but they're kind of fun and easy. I met my husband, Dan, on an airplane back in about 2015. Literally, we sat next to each other.
That's fun.
I was coming back and forth from South Africa at that time, and had about a 4 hour a flight from Tucson on to Atlanta. We had the best conversation, and he says, "Well, how can I stay in touch?" And I'm like, "Well, hello, if you want to stay in touch with me, you have to be able to WhatsApp." So he says, "Well, what's WhatsApp?" And
Mm,
so I showed him. And then he got to his gate and he WhatsApp me. He goes, "Hi, I downloaded WhatsApp." And so, the story is history. We
that's
started
great.
dating and then got married. And that's what brought me to Virginia.
Okay.
And another quick fun fact is, um, I have been very fortunate to do my 50 miler. So I'm very proud of that. I do run and I'm very active. And so I did my 50-mile race in Arizona.
Wow.
You do it all in one day, and it's about a 16-hour process, if you will. And that was back in about 2016.
Wow. I'm impressed. Not me.
Right.
That's not on my bucket list at all. So what does courage mean to you, Kylie?
I like that question, and I'm glad that I got to think about it before, but courage to me means to never give up. Never ever give up on your dream. And I love the fact, and I can twist in the why not today, because that is part of it. A lot of people get stuck in not accomplishing really what they want to, their dreams, because they're afraid. So I love that idea of why not today. And then that can give you courage.
Yeah.
So the courage is not to give up and to start now.
Love it. Not wait. People, I think, overanalyze overthink it. And it's just
Yeah.
one baby step at a time. And I always say where we start, where we finish are going to be completely different, but you just got to start or you're never going to get there. So those baby steps. Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day about businesses and doing things. And it's like, I have another business that I've been part of for 30 years. And, how did I get to 30 years? One day at a time,
Yes.
one,
True.
one one courage step at a time. And, and you wake up one day and like, how am I here? Like, how did that? But
Yes.
so Kylie, let's talk about your courage journey. And first, I always start with, are there any times in your life as part of your journey, your story, that I call my why not today moments, that you woke up in the middle of the night, you were talking to someone, you remember exactly where you were, what you were doing, that you made that decision on the
Mm.
spot and it totally changed the trajectory of your life. And
Oh
you had no
yeah. Oh
idea.
yeah. Absolutely. I can tell you it's 2010. And I in so some of you might know that I had a safari business and I still do safaris,
Have a
but I
what
don't go
business?
safaris.
Okay,
So
safaris.
actual in South Africa, real live safaris.
Oh, wow.
Like,
That's
yep,
fun.
100%. I did it since 2004. And now I still do. I lead safaris, amazing. But then I got out of Arizona summers and I would go and spend Arizona summers in South Africa, which was the winter time.
Okay.
So during the
How did you
time that
get into that?
oh, that's another story. Hold on, I'll tell you though.
Okay. All right. That's
But
really cool.
but during the time that we had a gap, like where there was a long weekend and or we had 3 or 4 days without clients, because safaris are like one like a cruise ship in the bush belt, right? People
Okay.
come, they stay 7 days or 10 days, and then they go. So my best girlfriend at the time and my creative director still today was out there and we were having a long weekend, right? She came in from Johannesburg. And so we were chatting and talking, and now my father again was a self-made home builder. So I grew up with subcontractors my whole life, and they were basically like uncles. And it really kind of like heart crushed me when the sense of like they were great at home building, at painting, construction, drywall, this or that, but they all suffered, which is how do I run my business? Like they would say constantly, I've got invoices that I'm still 2 months of delivering because I'm so busy.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to solve this problem. Start build a platform that helps them automate their businesses and figures out a way to start a business. And that was my aha moment with Business in a Box. And my girlfriend, again, Nadine, my creative director still today, we birthed Business in a Box over a weekend.
Love it. And that is such a big need. And, um, people are like, oh, you just start a business. And I found, and yeah, I just started a business and it's easy to get an LLC and it doesn't take any time. But because I had a direct selling business for years, that I had a corporation behind me doing everything, starting my own business, it's like, how do you find out all the things you're supposed to know? And I keep saying, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
And there's a lot that goes into this, and to have a
Hmm.
checklist or to have somebody guiding you, and also systems. Like that's one thing I teach a lot about and have a course about is systems, and and I was talking to another friend of mine, and I think it's one of both of our strengths is you got to have those systems in your business that if you do something more than once, I always say it should be a system. Like it should just, you shouldn't spend time recreating the wheel over and over and over and
Right.
over.
Right.
And so creating that system, and if somebody else has done it for you, by all means, copy
Right.
it.
I
You
say
know?
borrow, but exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You don't make it complicated.
Well,
Borrow it and use it.
somebody also I heard one time said, copy, you can copy, but make sure you're copying the right cat, not somebody that's not successful. So what exactly is business in a box? And
Thanks for asking.
how do you market
Um,
that, and how do you help people?
yeah, it's so back in 2010. Now, this is kind of funny. Think about this, 2010. Automations were like, huh, what? And then Chat GPT and the internet. I mean, well, of course, the
Well, when
internet
I
was going
started my
on.
Mary Kay business in 94, I always say we didn't have internet and we didn't have cell phones. Like
Yeah,
it was like a long, you're like,
yeah.
people are like, what?
Yeah. I spent commercial real estate. I spent 25 years in commercial real estate exactly at that right time. And
Yeah,
it's like we're talking glossy fax days, big cell phones that took a brick to carry around. And
yeah,
now we're dating ourselves, by the way,
yeah,
Leslie. I'm just
yeah, I
saying.
know. We started when we were
But
two.
that's true. That's true. We
Mhm,
were youngsters.
mhm.
Business in the box, it's very simple. My passion is to help people start their business and stay out of a minimum wage nightmare. It's very simple. And a lot of people get stuck in well, I've got to have all of this in place before I actually start my business. And I base this on mostly service-based businesses because I like to be able to help people that never thought they could actually start a business. And I'm not going to help you get a PhD. I'm not going to help you, start what a trucking company, right? Now, I
Right.
can't help you with that, but my goal is to start a service-based business that is cost effective, that gives you all the systems, all the coaching, everything that you need, all of your branding materials, your package, your website, your all of your social pages, your cover pages. I have an amazing CRM that goes along with it that has texting and email capability to make it easy for you, but also
Mhm.
to build funnels so that you can go if you're a cleaning business, for example, or you're a consultant, we help you with like a quiz, whatever that lead magnet is. I offer weekly coaching, which is part of it. You can't have one without actually having direction and understanding okay, now Kylie, you gave me this, I did the work, here is the results, where do we tweak it? So we literally work on your business every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, which is a weekly coaching call. It's our workshop. That's where all the work gets done.
That's awesome. And I think where that's so powerful is that accountability that, when I started my Why Not Today business, is I talked about a year and a half doing an LLC, and I'm more deadline driven than anything. So literally January 1st, I'm like, okay, before the end of this day, I'm doing it. But to have that accountability, because it just can slide because you're so busy, whether you're working in the business and not on the business, which is such a big difference. Or
Yep.
a lot of people start these businesses as a side hustle to build to a full-time business, but you're so busy, you don't have time to do the things. So to have that
Right.
deadline, that accountability, updating my website, and, I want to spend time,
Mhm.
working on it so it's effective. And I find during the week when I'm so busy, I don't have time. So they usually give me something during the week, and on weekends I spend out a couple hours fine tune, reviewing it. But I have
Right.
that deadline. And that makes such
Right.
a difference. So what kind of industries do you focus on, Kylie? I know you said service, but
Um,
is there any?
all service-based businesses. This year in January, I had a really good aha moment. And
Why not today,
some
Mom?
people, well, there you go. Why not today moment? I've done a lot of ministry work with Kairos prison ministry. So it's the women's prison ministry. And we get to go into the prisons. And our whole purpose there is just encouragement. that's just it. We do encouragement, we bake cookies, we talk with them, and that's it. And it's just amazing. But I sat there and I thought, wait a second, if anybody needs business in a box, I learned about the reentry team, the reentry community, and it's people that are about 90 days from getting out, right? They've been incarcerated. It's
Mhm.
typically, we're not, sorry, we're not talking people that are going to be forever in because of
Right,
whatever they've done. I never ask anything like that, but they're 90 days and they're going to get out. And what do they do when they get out? They go look for a job and they can't get a job because they have a record.
right.
And so at that moment, I said, all right, why not today? And I built a Department of Corrections side of Business in a Box. And I've spent all this year with the flagship program inside of the women's prison here in my area. And I have done unbelievable amount of work trying to get inside of the prisons. So now your question is, I have a Department of Corrections side of Business in a Box, but everything is service based. So a really good thing of any kind of construction business, whether you're a handyman, a painter, a landscaper, you hang sheetrock, you do floors, whatever it might be. Also, any kind of cleaning business, which also can be construction, auto detailing, homes, offices, commercial, any of that. And companion care is a really big one.
Hmm.
Coaching can still be part of it. I know you've never been to be think out of my flagship program, four of the ladies identified that they would like to start a companion care. And I'm
That's
not talking to CNA. I'm talking about,
yeah.
listen, you're going to go, I need somebody to go and sit with my grandma, cook her a meal. Maybe you're going to go pull some weeds for her, do a little bit of folding of the laundry, and you're going to sit there for 4 hours and she needs companion
Yeah,
care.
I know somebody who needs that right now, who's got
Yep.
dementia, lives on her own, and the doctor just says she shouldn't be driving, and she is climbing the walls because she's so bored.
Yep. Yep.
She should be in a home soon, but at this point,
Yeah.
she's at home.
But there's a gap there. So
Yeah.
that is a really good one. And the other one that dawned on me, believe it or not, Leslie, is and I will push for this like in my 2025, this is part of my goals, is to have BIB coaches. And what better coach for the Department of Corrections, especially than somebody that's already been through the program and have been incarcerated and understands what these people need.
Yeah, that is such an amazing ministry, and I mentioned the other day I have somebody I need to connect you with. But have you also thought about working, and this could be a whole nother thing to work in the recovery of abuse or of like
Mhm,
addiction?
mhm.
Well,
I've got
abuse
a couple
too,
of
like
gals.
domestic
Yep.
violence, but also addiction. Um, that there's an organization called Christopher Atwood
Uh,
Foundation. I
okay.
don't know if you've ever heard of them, but
I don't think
his
so.
family started this nonprofit. The woman that's in charge, her brother, died of an overdose. But at 20, and when he was in high school, he was addicted
Mm,
in Reston, Virginia, which is a
mm,
pretty affluent area. He was addicted to
mm,
heroin and went
mm,
out of rehab and finally passed away, but they were never educated on like Narcan and things that could save people. And so they
sure.
started a nonprofit like days after he passed away. But
Mm,
their whole program is they educate people. And a lot of the people in their program that are their educators and their coaches and their
mm,
counselors are
yep.
recovering addicts.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so
No,
that
no,
might
that's a good idea.
be a nice partnership because, people need just that hope that
Yep.
it's overwhelming. Like
Yep.
all the things of opening a business that I love what you're doing. And I'm, I'm sure there's areas that you can get public funding to help with that.
Yeah, it is. And speaking of that, it's like we just talked a little bit about how much time you spend on things, right? And that is like cobwebs of time and you can go down
Yeah.
rabbit holes and grants and
Yeah.
it's really, really difficult. It's I started my nonprofit, which is kind of interesting in when during my Why Not Today aha moment starting in January of 2024. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to start a nonprofit to help these people. So I
That's a
did.
lot of
I
work.
did. it's called Wings of Growth. And again, you've got to fundraise, and grants and everything. It's just really, really hard for you to do everything on your own. And that's
Right.
why even through that, there's coaching programs out there to actually have a successful nonprofit, right? So I'm very big believer on find a coach, find a mentor, find a program which is going to help fast track you and actually honestly save you time and money, period.
As I said, find the right cat and copy them and
Yep.
learn how
Yep.
to get that mentorship.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of the courses I've thought about doing is how to do a podcast because I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but I had to figure it out on my own. It took a lot of work and a lot of time.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love the nonprofit wings of growth. And one of the
Wings of
things
growth.
with Why Not Today merchandise is I want to be partnering with nonprofits that to give people the courage to say why not today, which aligns with everything everybody's doing.
Yep.
But to have a partnership with anybody that buys Why Not Today swag merchandise, whether it's a shirt or a mug, that a percentage is going to go back to these nonprofits to help support them. Because I think
Lovely.
the Why Not Today message resonates very, very much with the
Yep.
nonprofit world. What people are doing, they need courage to do all the things and help the people.
I agree. I agree. And it gives them that support. So that's awesome, Leslie.
Yeah. Oh, I love your business in a box idea. So any other
Thanks.
Why Not Today moments or courage that you want to share before we wrap this?
Yeah, before we wrap it up, I'll just be quick on you. This is because it actually was. It's you asked about Africa. And I'm gonna say the early, oh my goodness, 89, probably early 90s, perhaps. I was deep in commercial real estate. I was getting ready to show a property in Tucson nearest to our Sonoran Desert Museum. And the guy said, you came highly recommended because he knew that my family were big into the outdoors. And so here it is. This is Glossy Facts Days. I sent him the package of the listings and my, photoshopped card and all that
Mhm.
stuff, my glamour card. And he gets it like in a few days or whatever. Calls up and says, you might think I'm nuts, but now this guy was a safari guide. So he had a booking business and stuff. He goes, Kylie, I am getting ready to go to Africa in about 6 weeks. The person that was going to help be a gopher for me can't go. Would you want to go? And I'm like, go to Africa? He goes, I can't afford to pay you, but I'll pay your way. And it is a month though. Now, this was East Africa. And I'm like, I didn't even care. I'm like, yes, yes. And I told my group, my entire office, like I just got on board and they're like, oh my God, you don't even know this guy. Well, I'm a practical person. It's like he had 5 or 6 doctors on safari and we were getting to do some community work in the hospitals, in the schools, in the prisons. And I'm like, listen, I could be the train wreck that smashes his safari. So I'm the one that's like, I'm easy. This is great. I
Yeah.
went, spent a month, and I was like the safari princess. I'm like, Lord, thank you very much. I sent a postcard back to my dad with a push pilot. I said, Dad, I'm not coming home. I'm going to stay here and raise monkeys. And
Love it.
I loved,
What
I
an
knew
amazing story.
God put Africa in my heart. And my
And
dad and I got to go back and forth to Africa several times because he was a big outdoorsman. And I said, I'm going to start a safari business. I'm going to start something that's really great. And I got to do some really great after school programs. And I instilled very much giving back into every single client that came in.
that's such a cool story. And, you know, when we have to be open, I did a podcast episode a couple months ago called the Why Not Today Scavenger Hunt. Like you
Oh,
never know
fun.
who that person's going to be that's going to take you to that place you need to be. And we need to be open and aware and be willing to say, yes, I'm going to do that, you know, and not overthink it and not overanalyze it because you just never know. There was a devotion I read one time, and this woman talked about they went somewhere and did something and at a conference, and her daughter, they had an elephant there, and her daughter got to ride an elephant. And so the whole
Oh,
premise
fun.
is, and it aligns with your safari, but you never know when you wake up in the morning where at the end of the day you can ride an elephant. So you never
Yeah.
know when you get up, you have the perfect plan for your week, your day, your hour, and it blows up, and but something else comes around. So Love that. So
Yep.
how would you encourage
You keep
somebody
a good
else?
attitude. If you keep a good attitude, you're going to
Oh,
make that a lot easier on
oh,
yourself.
absolutely. We have a
Yep.
choice. So how would you encourage somebody else to start a business, to say why not today, to go on an African safari?
This is an easy one because I would say stop overthinking it. Stop putting your excuses and your reasonings for not doing it because you can't take that to the grave. So just get out and do it.
Yeah.
Just jump. Take my hand, jump off the cliff with me. It's all going to be okay. It's going to be
Why
okay.
not today? Yep.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
as I said in the beginning, before we talked, I always try to tie this back to my dad and things you said. So lots of stuff. One, you just like your dad, my dad adopted everybody. Like every holiday, ever anything, everybody was always included and invited. Nobody ended
Same.
up living with us for long periods of time, except for, and actually I lie that he had, this goes way back when he was in high school, a family, had an exchange student from one of their neighborhood families had an exchange student from Japan. And he came over to the United States and was living in the neighborhood my dad was. Well, the husband of this family that had the exchange student died unexpectedly. And so the wife's like, I can't have this kid here. And so my grandparents adopted this child, this person, not officially, but he lived in, and my dad was an only child, so it was his best friend. And, growing up, he was Uncle Kozo, you know? So
Cute.
yeah, we were always
Cute.
that family. And then talking about your dad being an entrepreneur and that, aligned with my dad, with absolutely owned his own business and did all the things. And just like you said, you do, giving back and making a difference. And I think that's such a big thing that,
I love it. I love
yes.
it. That is
So,
awesome.
well,
That is
thank you,
awesome.
Kylie, for being an amazing guest. And I'm excited to dig more into your business in the box and see what that is and how we can align maybe together some of the things. So,
That's
well, and
great.
thank
Leslie,
you.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited to connect with you even more. So, and thank you for everybody for joining us on this inspiring journey. Remember, every day is an opportunity to take action, chase your dreams, and make a difference. So, why not today? And you can subscribe, like, review the podcast wherever you can find podcasts. If you want to find everything about Why Not Today, we're at whynottodaypodcast.com. And remember, we've got merchandise to share your vision, share the vision. Like, why not today? Encourage yourself when you wear it and encourage somebody else because you never know who's watching. So thanks, Kylie. And I will enclosed in the show notes how to contact you and everything. So
Thank you, darling. Bye.
you're welcome. Remember, say, why not today?
Why not today?